Hi, welcome to the Red Carpet Movie Review.
Today we're going to review the 1982 classic, Blade Runner.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from Hollywood, California, welcome to the Red Carpet Review, starring the Showstopper, Shawn Valentino, also starring Rich Twilling. Today we review the classic film Blade Runner, live from the red carpet.
Hey everybody, it's Shawn Valentino, your host on the Red Carpet Movie Review. And today we're going to review the 1982 classic film Blade Runner. Now, Blade Runner is directed by Ridley Scott and it stars Harrison Ford. And it's based on a Philip K. Dick short story, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. And this movie was a little bit of a box office disappointment. Can you imagine if they kept that original title? Now, Blade Runner is a neo-noir film that takes place in 2019 Los Angeles. And the story revolves around Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, who is a futuristic police officer, also known as a Blade Runner. And in the story, a Blade Runner is someone who is assigned to retire a bioengineered being called a replicant. Retire meaning find and kill. And Deckard is ready to retire from his job himself, but he's given one last assignment to hunt down these 4 replicants that are illegally here on Earth. And the plot of the movie centers around his mission to hunt down these replicants. Now, I'm not going to go any further into plot details because I realize a lot of you guys haven't seen this movie, and many of you are going to be seeing it for the first time because of the recent release of Blade Runner 2049. So to give you any plot details can really spoil the film, because you want to go into this movie with an open mind and knowing as little about it as possible, because there's all kinds of special surprises for you, and to reveal anything about the film will really spoil the entire experience. But what I do need to tell you is this movie is a visual extravaganza. There are some of the most spectacular set designs ever seen on film, and it's one of the most beautiful pictures that you will ever see. The special effects here are just amazing. So a lot of this was done with matte paintings and practical effects, which makes it all the more stunning. It depicts this dystopian Los Angeles as a futuristic noir setting, and the whole visual elements of the movie are just absolutely mind-boggling. Every single second of this movie needs to be seen to be believed. And the setting is almost like another character in the movie itself. And again, this movie was made in 1982, but it's depicting Los Angeles in 2019. And it's really an unbelievable futuristic neo-noir setting. Dark shadows and bright lights blending together seamlessly. And the director and the cinematographer were highly influenced by visiting the city of Hong Kong. And they used a lot of the landscape and architecture as well as the skylines of Hong Kong as an influence to the set design of this film. And like I said before, this is a futuristic film noir, and the aesthetic and the story borrows from a lot of classic noir tropes. From the hero with the shades of gray, to the dark atmosphere, to the femme fatale who's played by Sean Young here, to the morally ambiguous villain who's played by Rutger Hauer absolutely brilliantly. He was absolutely terrific here, just a memorable performance. And you have all types of shadowy side characters that just add to the atmosphere of paranoia and fear and the dark tone of this film. And I think this film did a wonderful job of adopting these classic noir tropes into a futuristic setting. But this film is considered a classic not only because it's a triumph in set design, visual effects, and atmosphere. The reason this movie is studied and so influential is that it presents a lot of timeless themes here. Humanity versus technology, the moral implication of bioengineering, science versus religion. But above all, it asks some existential questions about the very nature of humanity itself. And you'll definitely see some similarities between this and another classic Dick story, which was Minority Report, which is a far superior film to this one, but you see a lot of similar themes such as corporations and technology overcoming an individual's humanity, and I think it's brilliantly presented in this film, mostly through the visual effects, but also through some really good performances by Harrison Ford, Sean Young, Rutger Hauer, and I think all of them give some somber, introspective performances that really bring these themes to life. But despite all of its wonderful visuals and thematics, I do believe that the story is a little bit weak on character development and story, and I found a lot of it to be very plodding and a little bit too slow for my taste. Now I don't mind a slow pace if there's some really fascinating characters on screen, and while the acting is really good here, I feel like the writing was a little bit lackluster and it kind of drags down the picture a little bit. Again, I've kind of recently seen this movie for the first time, so I definitely want to revisit it to really explore these characters a little bit more. I know this was very subtly written, but I do believe that the weak point of this movie is the story. But despite this, I still highly recommend this film. It's a timeless work of art. It's a masterpiece in set design, production value, and score. And this is one of those movies, if you're a film fan, you really need to watch this because it's one of the most highly influential science fiction pictures of all time. And the impact of its influence can be visualized in nearly all science fiction movies that exist today. And we here at the Red Carpet Review like to rate our movies on a 5-star scale. And I'm going to give Blade Runner 4 stars on a 5-star scale. Again, I highly recommend this picture. It takes elements from classic sci-fi films like Fritz Lang's Metropolis, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Stanley Kubrick's 2001, and it seamlessly blends them with classic noir elements of films such as The Third Man and Touch of Evil. And to blend these two contrasting genres together so brilliantly is absolutely genius. So if you're a fan of film, you need to watch this cinema and try to watch it on as big a screen as possible and with as good of a sound system as possible. Once in a while you'll see this come out on the big screen and I highly recommend checking it out. If not, try to see it at home on as big of a television as possible because it's one of the most visually magnificent movies that you'll ever see. And this is a movie that's been studied in film classes for years and will continue to be studied for decades to come. So definitely check it out and let us know what you think. Hope all of you enjoyed this classic movie review of Blade Runner. We have one of our sci-fi motion picture experts here. Now what did you think about this movie review of Blade Runner?
Exactly what you said.
Thank you so much for that expert opinion. And thank you so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button and press subscribe and we'll see you next week on the red carpet.
Thank you for watching the Red Carpet Review. Proceed to click that like button and press subscribe for weekly movie reviews past and present. We'll see you soon on the red carpet.